Alright, ladies, this is Alex from MindfulAttraction.org. This is the second time I'm making this video because the first time it wasn't recording. In today's video, we're going to talk about how to keep a man's attention by being mysterious. Alright, let's try this again, okay? I'm not mad at you guys. I'm just mad at my computer. Essentially, being a mystery is all about becoming more, creating the process of knowing and understanding you a little bit harder, and learning how to throw your target, which is a guy, to other targets that will exhaust his energy. All right, and so I'm showing you guys how to do that. And when you exhaust his energy and you make him weak, that's what it enables him to. That's what enables you to actually use some of the tactics that I teach and actually effectively make him chase. All right. So the reason why being mysterious is also important is because the world that we live in is not full of mystery anymore. When we looked at this in the past, back in the days before we had a good understanding of science, we relied on just being in awe with the world. We looked at the sky, we didn't understand why it was so interesting, why those things were there. So as a result, we speculated, and our imaginations ran wild with trying to understand our world, and that's what made it even more fascinating. So as we understood more about the universe and about the heavenly bodies, that we get the mystery and the respect that we once had for the universe started lowering. All right, and we sort of take for granted the things that we know about the universe. We usually love the process of learning about the unknown because it's of it the hope of our wow. I cannot wait to learn about that. We usually value that more than the knowledge itself. You understand? And for example, so it's kind of like you would love to learn about a new planet, right? Then you learn about the planet and suddenly, okay, that's a new planet, on to the next. So what makes the new planet interesting is the process of finding it out. So when you become that, you become a little bit more harder to understand, and you conceal your intentions. You become more subtle in your actions, in your words, and in your thoughts. It allows you to automatically become a lot more interesting. All right. So, like I said, there's no mystery in the world. The mystery that we once had was given through nature, and now it's been uncovered. We crave it, and we also crave it in relationship, having that kind of mystery. The same mystery we once had with nature, we want it in our relationships. All right. The mystery of religion also and the unknown is what makes life exhilarating. It's the unknown part, like whether or not I'm gonna achieve my goals. Mind you, the outcome is always anticlimactic, but the process to the outcome is what makes it fun and interesting because, well, it allows our minds to speculate. You see, it's kind of like it's kind of like not knowing the outcome of a game. It's one thing watching the game and knowing the outcome, but it's another thing watching the same game and not knowing what's gonna happen. It makes it more interesting. The process of uncovering is the interesting part. Knowing who the champions are isn't that interesting as watching the whole season and the playoffs run through, right? Season, LeBron James, season. You gotta play the whole season. Remember that, motherfucker. Um, so as soon as you become a mystery, you put yourself in a position of power, because you're not the one who's trying to interpret the other person. You understand them. Most people are easy to interpret because they reveal their intentions. Most people don't know how to control their mouths. So when you let them talk by you not talking and being mysterious, it allows you to become in a position of power because you understand them, but they don't understand you, and they're trying to figure you out because you keep throwing them ambiguous signals, and sometimes even contradicting. So it immediately puts you in a position of power where they're the ones who's trying to understand you, and you're the one laying back, being understood. In addition, mystery provides excitement at every corner. It makes you want to learn more, and the lack of understanding is what makes us even more interesting. So the less people understand you, the more interesting you're gonna become. You're gonna become like Seinfeld says, an enigma wrapped in a Twinkie, some shit like that. Being mysterious again is what gives value to the things that you do. The more mysterious you are, the more valuable you're gonna be. The more valuable your words. So this is how I do it, right? Say a way to be mysterious is say contradicting things, contradicting comments about your intentions. For example, it's kind of like saying, one day you're talking about how you want to be in a relationship with him and how you like him, and the next day you talk about how you want to live for the rest of your life in a place that you know he doesn't want to live. For example, like I said earlier today, it's kind of like you knowing that I want to live in New York City for the rest of my life, right? And then one day you're telling me you love me, you want to spend your whole time together with me, and I'm like, yeah, I feel good about myself, right? And then the next day you talk about, oh man, I really want to live in Texas one day, man. That's where I want to live for the rest of my life. I'm actually thinking of moving there. I'm like, oh, what the fuck? Like it makes me like, oh, what's going on here? What's going on here, right? You see, it's kind of like it makes me like, whoa, what? Like I thought you said one thing, now you're saying the other. You see, it makes you like, so it makes me like trying to understand. So what the hell's going on? What's going on here? All right. Another way for you to do this is to create space. All right. It says you can be mysterious by summoning the natural fear of the unknown through creating space and making him think of what you're doing and with whom you're doing it. Make him curious as to whether or not you want something more with him, or whether or not you want to dump him. For example, in order for this to work, you need to create a pattern of consistency. All right, consistency in terms of, okay, she likes me. Look at her, she's always with me. Look at her, she also wants to spend time with me. Look at her, she's always responding. And suddenly, you stop responding. Suddenly, you're always busy for like a good week or so. Suddenly, you start responding to his phone calls. All right, and that in that moment is not the response, the no response to the phone call that makes the mystery. It's the space that you're going to allow him to endure, of not knowing where you are or what's going on. That makes his mind go wild. It makes his mind trying to figure out what you're doing. It makes you more mysterious. And as long as you're able to give him a good excuse where you're not gonna get in trouble, and you have preemptively have had an excuse like pictures with your friends or pictures with your family, that you were hanging out with your family, but you just didn't tell them what you were doing simply to give him that mystery. It'll allow you to do this without losing the relationship, because you say, look, motherfucker, I was with my mom. We took a selfie together, right? So all you're doing is just doing the damage. All right. That's one way for you to do it. And another way is using silence and delayed responses. For example, it's kind of like a lot of times when you talking to a person, they respond very quickly. For example, it's kind of like saying, "Hey, how are you?" and I respond, "Hey, good," right? As opposed to, "Hey, how are you?" and I respond with, "Pretty good." You see, you add that extra space to it, right? Another way for you to do this is kind of like if somebody asks you like a question like, "So, what are you from New York City?" And you give them the, like, it's like saying, really, come on, man, of course I'm from New York City, right? Rather than saying, yeah, I am, you just give them the, come on, man, come on. Like, I would expect you to know. It allows them to interpret that look. They have to interpret that look. That's the point, all right? And that's something you can easily do, like silence. So another one is literally just stop texting him, responding to a text message. All right, and again, the mystery is in the space and them thinking what's going on. That's the mystery. All right. Another one will be showing less facial expressions. If you're happy, rather than being happy, like expressing that energy of happiness, right? You contain the happiness inside, and you're happy. Rather than saying ha 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 ha, you smile inside, like, that was funny. Like, boom, you're smiling inside, right? The energy is being emanated, because if they feel the positive emotions, kind of like somebody hates you, you can feel that they hate you at a subtle level, even though they try not to show it. The same thing with this. You show your happiness at a subtle level, and so you allow your sub-communication to speak through you, and they can sense it. Another one will be being less obvious. If you know you want a relationship, don't tell them that you want a relationship. Let him be the one who comes up with it. Let him be the one who says, "What are we?" Let him be the one that says, "We should be a little bit more." Even though you want to tell him, don't say it, because it makes him want to chase. It makes him saying, "Why hasn't she asked me everywhere? Every girl asks me, which is, what are we?" You don't do it, all right? And when you want him to ask you that, you take a step back. You show a lot of attention, and take a step back, and then act like you met somebody else. If he asks you, so what you been up to? No, I just had dinner with a friend. Had dinner with a friend. Who's a friend? I just had dinner with a friend. And it kind of like makes him think like, oh, who's a friend? You know. And the point is that once you tell him that, you can easily make sure to have a preemptive excuse by taking a picture with a female friend. But the point is that he's gonna feel that slight jealousy. That slight jealousy, unfounded, because you show him the picture of you being with a friend, but the damage is already done. Another one will be acting contradicting ways to throw him off guard. Lure them in with your natural self and then contradict yourself. This will make you a lot more mysterious. For example, the difference between a prostitute and a girl who is a normal girl but gets a lot of dick is a girl who, the prostitute shows an exterior of a prostitute but is a prostitute, like gets a lot of dick, as opposed to the nice girl who is able to do that but shows the image of a nice girl, but then when you in the bedroom with her, she's a fucking freak. You see what I'm saying? Like one you respect it, one you don't. Why? Because one has the exterior of the good one, and so you're able to be more socially acceptable. All right, and there's a lot less judgment being thrown upon you, and the other one is obvious. The other one is straightforward, and you kind of like, yeah, there's a social stigma to it. In addition, it's more about a surprise where people expect you to be one thing, and then when they meet you, you're another. Like, oh damn, girl, I didn't know you were that crazy. right? For example, like one of the most interesting girls I met was actually like that. She had the exterior of a Mormon girl. She looked like she was part of the Mormon church, right? The cult. And so when I talked to her, like when I first met her, I was like, hey, so blah blah. I was talking. I was like, you look like you're part of the cult, like like something like that. I forgot what I said. She started laughing, and we had a short conversation, right? And when I noticed about it is that she looked like she didn't have any tattoos, right? But she had some badass motherfucking tattoos, man. Like they were dope as hell, right? She had some dope ass tattoos, but they were badass. And she didn't look like she had tattoos. She had like a shit ton of piercings, but they were like in the right places, not too many. And the shit that she said, yo, and you could tell you could tell she had a confident attitude about her, and she was very playful and feminine about it, but not too overly masculine. But she was like more subtly about it, subtly dominant, but more feminine. And I was fascinated about that because I just didn't expect that. And I think it was more about you having your guard down because you're not expecting it. When it hits you harder because you don't expect it. And I found it extremely fascinating. I never heard from her again, but I just found it extremely fascinating. And that's how you do it. If you're a nice girl, have the front of a bad one. Learn how to have that bitch face. All right. If you're a bitch, learn to have the face of a nice girl, because it gives you a contrasting quality. All right. If you're a bitch, you need help. You need Jesus, girl, man. You need some milk. But yeah, that's how you do it, yo. Anyways, it's Alex from mindfulattraction.org. If you guys wrote notes about this, let me know. If you guys need one-on-one coaching, go to mindfulattraction.org/coach in a pocket. And this better have recorded, because if it didn't record, I'm not putting this video anymore. Have a good day. Bye-bye.